Ever wonder what true American fast food looked like centuries ago? Long before drive-thrus, native communities were crafting hearty handheld meals from the land itself. Imagine cornmeal flatbreads filled with venison or fish wrapped in leaves and roasted over fire. These weren't just quick bites, they were survival tradition and ingenuity passed down through generations. Before we begin, hit like and subscribe. It helps us keep these stories alive. Today we revisit 10 native sandwiches that reveal how America's first peoples combined resourcefulness and flavor, creating foods that nourished both body and culture. Introduced in 1937 by Hormel, Spam quickly became more than just canned meat. It was survival in a tin. During World War II, millions of soldiers carried it across Europe and the Pacific, where it earned the nickname the meat that won the war. When troops returned home, they brought back the taste of Spam, frying thick slices and stacking them between bread with mustard or mayonnaise. It was cheap, long-lasting, and full of protein, which made it a household favorite in the 1,942nd and 52nd. But as fresh meat became more affordable in post-war America, Spam began to lose its luster, often mocked as a symbol of hard times. Still, in Hawaii, it never faded, becoming so beloved that it inspired Spam musubi and even festival events dedicated to it. For many veterans and families, the fried Spam sandwich wasn't just food, it was a reminder of endurance, camaraderie, and the simple comfort of a hot meal on a cold morning. Even today, biting into one can bring back the smell of kitchens where survival and memory came sizzling from a skillet. During the Great Depression of the 1,932nd real chicken was often out of reach for struggling families. But clever home cooks refused to let empty wallets keep them from feeding their children something that felt special. They created the mock chicken sandwich, blending beaten eggs, chopped tomatoes, onions, grated cheese, and herbs into a mixture that mimicked the texture and flavor of poultry. To a hungry child, it tasted close enough, and many grew up believing they were eating chicken long before learning the truth. What made it remarkable wasn't the flavor alone, but the ingenuity behind it. These sandwiches proved that survival was not only about thrift, but also about creativity and dignity in the face of scarcity. Handwritten recipes for mock chicken spread were passed down on index cards tucked into church cookbooks and proudly served at potlucks where flavor mattered more than the ingredients. As prosperity returned, the fake chicken sandwich quietly disappeared from most tables, replaced by real meat. Yet for many, the memory lingers of mothers stretching groceries with patience and love, and of children gathering around the table grateful for every bite that carried both nourishment and hope. Few sandwiches capture the spirit of American comfort food quite like the Sloppy Joe. Believed to have originated in the 1,932nd, some say in a Havana bar, others in Sioux City, Iowa, it was a simple yet satisfying mix of ground beef, onions, tomato sauce, and spices, all piled onto a soft bun. Its messy, tangy goodness quickly won the hearts of children and parents alike, becoming a Depression-era staple for families who needed hearty meals at a low cost. By the 1,952nd, canned mixes, like Manwich made Sloppy Joes even more accessible, cementing their place in weeknight dinners across America. Many families had a designated Sloppy Joe night, a tradition that carried on for decades. In school, cafeterias, the sandwich became legendary. Kids lined up eagerly, napkins, ready, knowing the mess was part of the fun. Over time, its popularity waned as tastes shifted toward healthier or more sophisticated foods. But for many, the Sloppy Joe isn't just a meal, it's a memory of childhood laughter, dinner tables filled with chatter, and the simple joy of food you could eat with both hands. Even today, one bite can take you straight back to a 1,952nd kitchen or a bustling school lunchroom. At first glance, peanut butter and mayonnaise might seem like a culinary dare, but in the American South during the 1,932nd, this sandwich was a thrifty staple that kept children nourished through lean times. The creamy, nutty sweetness of peanut butter paired surprisingly well with the tangy richness of mayonnaise, spread thick on slices of soft white bread. For families struggling during the Great Depression, it was cheap, shelf-stable, and packed with calories, a lunchbox hero that fueled kids heading off to school. What made it special was its practicality. You could dress it up with banana slices, lettuce, or even bacon, turning it into something hearty and oddly indulgent. Though it might earn a raised eyebrow today, many Southerners still remember it fondly as the sandwich their grandparents made with love and resourcefulness. As tastes shifted and processed foods took center stage, the peanut butter and mayo combo quietly slipped into obscurity. Yet, for those who grew up with it, the memory lingers: wax paper wrapped sandwiches packed for picnics, sticky fingers after a summer lunch, and the reminder that even in hard times, simple pairings could bring comfort and joy. In the booming 1952nd, when prosperity returned to many American households, organ meats like chicken livers were considered both economical and nutritious. Rich in iron and vitamins, they were often recommended by doctors and mothers alike as food that would build blood. The chicken liver sandwich, made by marinating livers in garlic, salt, and lemon juice, then pan-frying them until tender, was layered on toasted bread with mayonnaise, lettuce, and tomato. It wasn't just filling, it felt hearty and special, often served on Sundays or at family gatherings. What set this sandwich apart was its bold, earthy flavor, something children sometimes wrinkled their noses at, but adults appreciated for its richness. For immigrant families, it carried echoes of old world traditions while adapting to American kitchens. As the decades passed and organ meats fell out of favor, the chicken liver sandwich quietly disappeared from mainstream menus. Yet, for those who grew up with it, the memory is vivid. Mothers urging, "Eat your liver, it'll make you strong," the smell of it sizzling in the pan, and the comfort of knowing that even simple cuts of meat could bring both nourishment and togetherness. Decadent, golden, and dusted with sugar, the Monte Cristo was the kind of sandwich that blurred the line between lunch and dessert. Inspired by the French croque monsieur, it first gained American fame in the mid-20th century, especially after appearing on the menu at Disneyland's Blue Bayou restaurant in the 1962nd. Ham and cheese were layered between slices of bread, dipped in egg, batter fried until crisp, then topped with powdered sugar and served with jam. The mix of sweet and savory was theatrical, indulgent, and very much of its time. Families loved its novelty, something that felt both sophisticated and fun. It symbolized an era when American diners embraced international flavors, though always with a distinctly American twist. Mothers clipped recipes from women's magazines, eager to recreate the Disneyland magic at home. But as lighter fare and quick meals took over, the Monte Cristo faded from everyday kitchens, lingering only in retro diners and food festivals. For many, the memory is still tied to a special outing: powdered sugar on fingers, jam dripping onto plates, and the thrill of eating something that felt like a fairground treat brought to the family table. In the early 20th century, when meat was scarce and expensive, families often turned to the sea for affordable protein. One humble hero was the sardines and egg sandwich. Hard-boiled eggs were mashed with canned sardines, then spread generously between slices of bread. It wasn't glamorous, but it was nourishing, providing families with a filling meal during World War I and the Great Depression, when every calorie mattered. What made it special was its practicality and reach. Immigrant families from Mediterranean and Eastern European backgrounds embraced it, blending old traditions with American frugality. The addition of egg mellowed the sharpness of the sardines, making it palatable even for children. For many, it was a taste of both survival and heritage. As prosperity returned and fresh meats became more accessible, the sardine and egg combination slipped quietly out of fashion. Today, it may seem unusual, but for those who grew up with it, the memory remains vivid: the metallic pop of a tin can, the tang of the sea, and the simple gratitude of having something hearty to place between two slices of bread. Strange as it may sound today, the banana and mayonnaise sandwich was once a beloved staple of Southern kitchens in the 1952nd and 62nd. Thick slices of ripe banana were laid onto pillowy white bread, spread with tangy mayonnaise and sometimes sprinkled with a touch of sugar. It was cheap, easy to prepare, and oddly satisfying, especially for children who needed a quick lunch before running outside to play. What made it unique was the way it turned two humble pantry items into something memorable. For many Southerners, it wasn't just food, it was nostalgia wrapped in wax paper, grandmothers packing them for picnics, or mothers tucking them into school lunch boxes. Some even added peanut butter or bacon, creating the same sweet, salty mix that later made Elvis Presley's favorite sandwich famous. Over time, the combination became a cultural curiosity, often joked about or dismissed as a relic of the past. But for those who grew up with it, one bite can bring back lazy summer afternoons, sticky fingers, and the comfort of knowing that even the simplest ingredients could create something worth remembering. Elegant and understated, the cucumber sandwich carried a sense of refinement that few others could match. Originating in Victorian England as a dainty tea-time snack, it found its way into American tea rooms and women's clubs in the early 20th century. Thinly sliced cucumbers, lightly salted, were layered between crustless white bread, spread with butter or cream cheese. It was refreshing, delicate, and perfectly suited for spring luncheons and summer garden parties. What made it special was its symbolism. Unlike hearty Depression-era meals, the cucumber sandwich spoke of leisure and social grace. It was often served at bridal showers, suffragette gatherings, and garden clubs, moments where food was less about survival and more about presentation. Manuals on etiquette even recommended it as the ideal choice for polite entertaining, but as America shifted toward fast food and convenience dining, the cucumber sandwich faded from mainstream tables. Today, it remains a nostalgic bite for those who recall porch afternoons with iced tea lace tablecloths and conversations that lingered as long as the summer heat. More than just a snack, it was a window into a world where simplicity and elegance walked hand in hand. Once a fixture in Jewish delis and immigrant households, the tongue sandwich was both hearty and refined. Slow cooked until tender, thin slices of beef tongue were stacked high on rye bread, usually paired with spicy brown mustard and a crisp pickle on the side. In early 20th century New York, it was as common as pastrami or corned beef, a true delicacy that carried both flavor and tradition. What made it unique was its connection to thrift and heritage. For immigrant families, using every part of the animal was a necessity, and tongue offered rich nourishment at an affordable price. It became a Sunday treat for some and a proud cultural staple for many Jewish communities. As tastes shifted and organ meats fell out of favor after the 1972nd, the tongue sandwich disappeared from most menus. Yet, for those who remember it, the sandwich recalls crowded delis with glass display cases, the smell of rye and mustard, and family outings where food was as much about belonging as about flavor. For some, biting into tongue wasn't just eating, it was honoring resilience and keeping a piece of cultural identity alive. These sandwiches were never just food, they were memories of resilience, family, and simpler times. From Spam that fed soldiers overseas to pimento cheese that graced Southern picnics, each bite carried a story of survival and community. Though many have vanished from menus, they remain alive in the memories of kitchens, lunchboxes, and gatherings long past. So which of these forgotten sandwiches do you remember most? Or is there one your family still makes today? Drop a comment below and share your story. And if you enjoyed this nostalgic journey, be sure to like, subscribe, and join us for more timeless tastes of America.